My name is Samantha Oliveri, and I am in ENC 1102, and I am interviewing Jamie Spooches about what discourse community means to her and how it affects her in her life. She's also in ENC 1102. So, Jamie, if I may ask you a few questions. Have you ever heard of a discourse community before?
Well, in fall in ENC 1101, we learned a lot about discourse communities.
What did you learn about it? Like, what do you think the definition of a discourse community is?
I think a discourse community is just like a group of people who like share common interests and kind of like can write sort of the same way. Like you could probably tell like what discourse community someone's in based on the way they write.
Mm-hmm.
And then we learned after reading Swal's that there's like 6 characteristics that can define a discourse community.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah.
So basically, what a discourse community is I don't know if it's like the correct definition, but this is what I think that it is. I think that it is, like what you said, a group of people who have some common interests, some common goals in life, and basically that they can like work together through. Like, for example, I'm in a sorority, and in my sorority we have common interests, we have common goals in lives. We all want to be like this type of person. We all want to be respectful. We all have a certain language that only the girls in my sorority understand. Like anyone outside of the sorority wouldn't understand it. So I think that's it's basically like your own little community inside like of a big community.
Mm-hmm.
And really only the people inside of it truly understand like why you do things the way that you do.
Mm-hmm.
So can you give, like with that being said, can you give some examples of discourse communities in your life?
Well, I'm also, we're in the same sorority.
Yeah.
So, okay. I was on a bunch of cheerleading teams, and like those could be discourse communities. And then being like a UCF student.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't have a job, but people who work, like their workplace is their discourse community.
Mm-hmm.
As a nursing major, that could be a discourse community.
Definitely, because you have certain things to do. Like I know, not saying that different like other majors are harder than other ones, which some can be, but nursing, like you have to really be focused and you have to really want it and you have to really be a certain type of person. Like it's kind of unspoken, but you really do have to be a certain type of person to be able to pursue a career in nursing.
Yeah.
How would you say that being in certain discourse communities have affected the way that you write and anything that you're really interested in? Like, do you think since being in a sorority, your interests have kind of shifted?
I think being in a sorority, like you want to, like, I don't know how to explain it. Like, the girls around you kind of, like, shape, like, how you think about certain things. Mm-hmm. Like, kind of all are, I don't know, I don't want to say the same, but, like, have the same, like, mindset and, like, want to show themselves in the best possible way because it reflects back, like, on the sorority.
Gotcha. So you think with like writing in Comp 1, do you think because I know we just started out in our sorority when we were in Comp 1, do you think that your writing has changed since then? Like since becoming more a part of the sorority, or do you think it hasn't really affected that?
I would say like being in a sorority has affected my writing. I mean, it's affected the way I maybe like think about some things.
Mm-hmm. But not your, like, writing.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. In John Swale's Discourse Community, Genres and English as an Internal Language, he gives 6 characteristics of discourse communities. The first one that I really, like, that really hits me as, it kind of makes me understand what a discourse community is that they have the same common, like, they all have the same interests in something. Mm-hmm. So you would say, like, obviously with being in a sorority, you have to have, like, during rush week, you have to kind of have the same interests as other girls when you're talking to them to be able to find the right place for you to be. Correct? Mm-hmm.
Like, you wouldn't be rushing if you didn't want to end up in a sorority. Like, mm-hmm. Like if your common goal is wanting to be in a sorority.
Like, let's say, like with Kappa Delta, everyone had all the same interests. Like, love to have fun, love to go out and party. But then there was this other, I don't know, blah 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 sorority, but they didn't like to go out and have fun. They more stayed in and studied. Like, you wouldn't want to be in that one because you're the type of person that likes to have fun.
Right.
So you'd
Like,
obviously
you know
want to be.
what you wanna do.
Yeah, exactly. Another thing that struck me as really cool is that discourse communities have certain types, like, of different communications that only people inside of the discourse community would understand. How would you explain that?
Well, using the sorority example again, we used to use Facebook, and like we would all post on Facebook to like communicate in a certain group, and now we use like the gen system. Like no one else would be able to use it unless you're like in KD. Like no one else can access it. And it's a way that we can like know what's going on, like events and stuff.
So are there like certain types of, like, is there a language barrier between like girls who aren't in Kappa Delta and girls who are in? Like, are there certain terms and words that only girls inside Kappa Delta would understand?
Yeah, like for example, we say like AOT, like I mean, before you're initiated, no one knows what it means, and then once you're initiated member, like you know what it means.
I think that's a really great example of how there's like a language inside of the community that only girls in Kappa Delta understand. Let's see. Do you think that Kappa Delta, I'm just going to go off like the whole sorority thing. Do you think that being Kappa Delta, there are constantly expectations that need to be met? Like, once one expectation is met, then there's another one that needs to be met. Do you?
I mean, you're definitely like have to be hold yourself to like a higher standard, because you're not just representing yourself, you're representing a huge group of girls, and like one person can like screw that up for everyone.
Yeah.
Like, especially since like the recent like Greek life, like
Drop and stuff.
What is it called, like probation and stuff like that. Like, we definitely have to be like really careful about what we say and like what we do. We have to like represent